What's going on, everyone? This is Sheets, and there's Carmen wishing me good luck tonight. Yeah, so we're going to talk about the NBA slate for this evening, and the big thing going on tonight. Well, it's obviously the eve of March Madness, but the big thing going on in DFS tonight, for me at least, is this FanDuel World Championship, which I won a seat to several months ago, and they're finally playing this out. We have our implied buy-in is 20K, and it's 500,000 for first, and we're going to have to put something in, and it's going to be a very difficult contest. We'll kind of take a look at it, I suppose. We don't want to download the players list, but you'll just have to trust me. It's a very, very difficult field. And we'll just have to do our best. Now, as opposed to the DraftKings live final stuff, the DraftKings live final stuff is always not late swap to prevent collusion. But FanDuel apparently is not like that. I guess this is not live, I suppose. I guess that makes a difference. This is just being played out online. So it's just your normal late swap slate. And tonight, that is literally going to make all of the difference, okay? And we will explain why as we go through the slate. So let's just kind of get right into it. We'll look at DraftKings first, but it's the same, even like more so idea for FanDuel. But let's look at DraftKings first. So as you can see, when you sort at least my projections, at least by point per dollar, you're getting just like all of this Minnesota stuff. You know, you have what's his name out, Anthony Edwards out, and we saw what happened last night. You know, Ayu Dosunmu and Bones Highland actually went freaking ballistic, and their price has not been raised. So on DraftKings specifically, I mean, these guys are, you know, both over 6x. And then you have other guys like from that same game, you know, Julius Randle, and then Dante DiVincenzo, Rudy Gobert, even Jaden McDaniels, like Kyle Anderson, 4K. So all of these guys are really, really the main values of the slate. Okay, so when it comes to low risk and even in some high risk, I mean, these are the guys you're going to have to look at. And then you have, only on DraftKings, I think this Jamal Sheed shows up at 5.4x. We'll have to take a look at that. I wasn't expecting that. Then you got this Robert Williams coming in at center at 5.5x. Then you have AJ Mitchell coming in about 5x. But the main guys are these two Minnesota dudes. And then when you sort it by, you give a little more credit for actually raw points, this Julius Randle play looks like extraordinarily difficult to fade. And, you know, I was a little bit suspicious of what Ayu Dosunmu could do in a situation like he was in last night, but he was ball heavy, he was aggressive, and he was exactly what you want out of a chalky ball handler. You know, he was excellent, and I expect more of the same. Honestly, it's going to be a very, very difficult thing to fade. Now, hold on to that thought for a second. I want to take a look at FanDuel for a moment, and FanDuel is even more violent. Like FanDuel, you have, check this out, of the top 8 point per dollar plays, like 7 of them are from Minnesota. That's pretty insane, right? Now, where is Shahid over here? Let me just see something real quick. Let me just see why I'm not seeing Shahid on FanDuel. I don't even know. Oh, because he's a little more expensive over there. So he's a better value on DraftKings. But you'll see that like all of the value is Minnesota. Now, the thing about FanDuel, though, is you can't play like 5 guys from the same team on FanDuel. So you can't play all these guys. So it's going to make it a little bit nastier. And then you have this Jakob Poeltl. He's like kind of the next best play within here. And then, of course, Randall. And then you have Jamal Brandon Ingram over here. You know, so these are like your spend ups, sort of. And we haven't even talked about, you know, the actual high projected guys. Like the highest projected guys are going to be, you know, Luka and Jokic. But And you can get to those guys pretty handily, I think. So that's going to be kind of like the highlight of the slate is that. Now, on the other hand, there is one extraordinarily important piece of news that is still out here in the Clippers New Orleans game, and that being Kawhi being questionable. He is, traveling with the team, and he's just not sure. They just don't know whether he's going to play or not. Now, the good news is that it's late swap. So I don't have to lock this in by 7 o'clock on FanDuel specifically, or on DraftKings for that matter. And we have a little bit of a clue. See, you had both Kawhi and Darius Garland threatening to not play earlier today. Garland they were considering, resting him for like injured toe management or something like that, because this is the first end of the back-to-back, but it looks as though he is going to play Garland. And I guess that would, to me, imply that maybe Kawhi sits. Because as long as they have Garland going, then they could rest Kawhi and maybe still be able to get away with it against New Orleans, who's not that good. So that's what I mean, I'll say think happens, whatever. But the good news is that I don't have to make that decision. Okay. Now, the other good news about this slate is that none of the guys that we mentioned are in these first 3 games. Okay. None of the good values that we talked about were in the Golden State game, the Portland game, or the OKC game. I mean, if you want, you could say that, Shea is obviously a good play for OKC, but there's a lot of blowout risk over there. Okay. And I definitely don't think it makes up for the fact that you might have to decide on that game before we know what's going on with Kawhi. Okay. So I think that a very prudent approach to this slate is going to be to X out the first 3 games. There's plenty of stuff you could play later. Again, you want to get this Toronto game right. I mean, if you want to play Ingram and Pirtle, okay. And if Kawhi is out, then obviously we're going to have to do something over there as well. And you want to listen. You want to get some starters in Minnesota. You want to wait for some late news in Minnesota, because all these guys did play a lot last night. Maybe somebody sits. I don't know. Then you might want to play Jokic and all this good stuff. So for me, my opinion is that in general, unless there was some like outstanding play showing up in the Golden State game, the Portland game, or the OKC game, I don't see any reason to play anything from that game at all. So I don't think I'm going to. Now we'll take a look at it. Let's just double check. No, I mean, yeah, you could play Shea, but I just don't think it's worth the aggravation. Avdia is fine, but again, I'd rather just kind of wait. I kind of wait that one out. You could play Jaylen Brown, sure, but I think that especially in the big buy-in here, you're supposed to kind of wait it all out. Now, if in fact you do get the Kawhi news early enough, then you'll just run your projections and do it as usual. However, you might want to wait anyway, because remember, this Minnesota game is you got like 7-8 guys to choose from, and if you do some intelligent late swapping, you might be able to select the right one based on what's happened earlier in the slate. You're going to get obviously Desomnu and what's his name, and Bones, whatever. But maybe if you need to get a little more off the board, maybe you could pivot to Dante DiVincenzo, for example. Okay. So I think that's the important lesson about this slate, is that you're just supposed to wait. So like for me, I mean, I don't know what I'm going to end up with, but I think that, I mean, why don't we just let's see what that would look like. Let's just put some point per dollar guys in, and then see how much money we have to spend. So on FanDuel, I mean, literally all these guys are good. Can't play them all, so let's just play the top ones, I guess. We'll play Bones Highland and Ayu Desomnu from Minnesota. to see what it looks like. Owns Highlands, and then IU to Sumner over here. And then I think what we decided was probably Randall. Yeah, so these are probably what you're supposed to start with, are these three. Now, I don't think that you could play 4 on FanDuel. I don't think. Let's just see real quick. Maybe you can. Get an error yet? No, not yet. Let's just see. Kyle Anderson. Yeah, you can play 4. You just can't play 5. So let's just start with these 3. And then let's see what that gets us. I mean, it's 7,100 that buys us. So like, who's the next guy that you probably want in? I mean, you could probably play, one of these studs. Now, again, we're going to presume that Kawhi is in for the time being, just for this purpose. But I think you could probably get away with playing. Let's see if you could play a stud. Let's see if you could play Jokic, for example. Okay, let's see what happens. What if you played Jokic in the what do you have left? 59.40. So 59.40 a man. I mean, it looks like you can do this, right? Well, Pirtle's 5,800. That's a good value. You could probably add, if you added one more Minnesota guy, then maybe you could get up to like one of these Torontos. So let's just see what happens. Let's say you played a good Toronto guy like Ingram. He's going to look like a good play. Now it's 5,400 a man. I'm just trying to find someone aside from Minnesota that you could play. Spencer Jones, do you want that? Probably not. So you could go ahead and do this. I mean, you could play like, who's a good shooting guard? You could play DiVincenzo. I don't know if that many people are going to do that. You could also go down to McCollum. Again, that is in the later game, right? Can you afford this? Let's see. Just see for the hell of it. If you played McCollum, now I think you could do this because you're at 5,200 a man. You're probably going to play. What's his name? In some level, like the slow-mo. Let's put him in. Why not? Just for the hell of it. And then you have 6,050, which you could spend pretty easily, I guess. Let me just see. Christian Brown, if you want to do that. You're not getting the elite plays, but you're playing the Minnesotas. You're getting the Ingram, and I think that can be a very reasonable way to play. Now, can you afford Barrett? Probably not. Played both Ingram and Barrett. He's not a small shooting guard anyway. But let's take a look at this. Let's put Barrett in here just for the hell of it and see what this is. So that would leave me 4,900, and I don't think there's anybody else aside from the Minnesota guys that we talked about that's like particularly good over here. So this might not be exactly the way to do it. The other thing I could do is you could play someone from like Chicago, like Jalen Smith maybe. Who else in Chicago looks good today? Is Giddey look good today? No, not really. Not at 10-3. So what I'm thinking of is instead of playing Jokic, okay, the same idea. What if I played Luka instead? So Luka, what do I get from him? Is he just point guard? Yes. The problem is he's just point guard. Oh, you can get what's his name? Tasomnu at shooting guard. And then you just kind of go do this. And now what you can do, I mean, if I feel like it, is I can play that Pirtle play and get a little something going with the Toronto stuff. I don't even know if I need to play what's his name? Anderson. I mean, it's probably a good idea, but so all these three Minnesota guys, you got Luka at point guard, and then you could do this if you want. And then again, if you want to play, what's his name? Slow-mo, it makes your life easy, obviously. Then you could just kind of like really have some fun. Put in Anderson, and then now who could you play at small forward? I mean, like you could almost anybody. Play Sadiq Bey, you could play whatever. So you play these Minnesota guys, and then you do have a choice. I mean, I could get to Luka, I could do Jokic, and that certainly makes a lot of sense. Trying to think if there's any other way I want to handle this. Like, do I want to stack this Chicago game, really? I mean, not really. I mean, the only thing I would think about is instead of playing Pirtle to play Jalen Smith, but don't think that the projections are going to like that too much. Like Pirtle at 5,800, projecting at 53. What does Jalen Smith look like? Where did Jalen Smith disappeared? Yeah, Pirtle is going to look like the play here. Jalen Smith is not bad. He's 5,500. Projection of 27. That's 5 points less. I don't know. So you play Pirtle, maybe you play another Toronto, you know. And this could be the way I play. Not bad, right? And I don't have to play anything from the early games at all. So I'm gonna save this for now, just so I have something. And I don't want to play the early game anyway. Now again, I could end up playing Kawhi after all that, right? You can just go. I mean, you can't play this, but like if Kawhi is out, for example, then you're gonna get, Darius Garland, who's going to really show up, And if that's the case, maybe we're not going to play Luka. In that case, maybe it's better to play Jokic to free up the spot for the guard. Okay. So the point is that we've got options. We have, sort of a plan, sort of a plan in case things, go the way we want. What other shooting guards? So this is Garland. This is the Garland variation, right? So we should probably save something just so that I don't forget. McCollum looks like he really fits. So does Christian Braun, though. Which one? It doesn't really matter. Let's put in, again, because we're going to change all this anyway. We start here, and then we'll put in who we're going to put in a small forward. Well, who's the best 5K guy I have left that's not Kyle Anderson? Let's see. Nobody really that good, huh? The Spencer Jones. So nobody really. You play Cameron Johnson, maybe just as kind of a placeholder. Yeah. So why don't we just do that? Just kind of a placeholder. Put in Cameron Johnson. Again, Darius Garland is probably not gonna get in there. I think it's either going to be Darius Garland or Luka. Okay, if Kawhi is in, then I probably play Luka, and then I go Pirtle over here. So like let's start with that. So let's go back, get rid of Cameron Johnson. We'll put in Pirtle, and then who did we say? Highland and Luka, for example. And then what did we say at small forward? We didn't have anything particular, right? We could do a interesting run back and do something like Sensabaugh, for example. Can you play? No, you can't play McDaniels here. Do some kind of placeholder again. We'll do a placeholder with who's the best placeholder here? Chate Murray, Barnes, Gifford. Maybe this isn't so easy. But in any case, we certainly are not going to play any. There's certainly nothing that great from the early game. So we're just going to save something and kind of keep things going there. Let's take a look at DraftKings, and we'll do the same thing. Let's try to build a DraftKings big buy-in. Again, just with projections, just with whatever. And let's just see. I mean, let's pull it up. Why not? Pull up my 555. Again, we're not going to actually do this. Oh, here's my 3 entries in the DraftKings live final. Let's go. Can't wait. Can't wait. Alley-oop. So what does it look like? DraftKings was a little different, I thought. I thought that you didn't really need to jam all those Minnesotas. Oh, the Shaheed. That's where I think Shaheed showed up. So play all these guys, really. Let's just see what this all adds up to, by the way. This is almost 50,000 right off the bat. That's pretty funny. Was that 3 centers, though? Let's see what this adds up to, just for the hell of it. Let's just play all these guys. So let's play. Who's the point guard? Let's play Bones at the point. We could play. Actually, play Sheed at the point because he's only point guard eligible. And then at the shooting guard, we can go and play Bones and Io. Oops. Oh, we can play Bones at this guard. Sorry. And then small forward. Again, we're just going by my projections here. Actually, Io, you could play at small forward here. It's almost unfair. And then what was Highlands? So I could now put Highlands in shooting guard. Then who's my best power forward? Oh, Randall. And then who is the center? Let's for now put Robert Williams. Robert Williams. And then we'll do, who's it? AJ Mitchell. That was another guard. And then what do we have? A couple more guys, right? Randall I already used. So we're missing. Yes, we can't quite get there. We have 99.50 a man, so let's just go ahead and play the top guy, and that would be Jokic. So we played Jokic over here, and then we'd have 7,400 to play with, and so top value there would be R.J. Barrett. So this would be kind of like a way you could play just using projection. Now again, this is probably going to end up being pretty chalky, right? But you know what's good about this as well? Ooh, this does not actually lock this. This does not actually leave it room because this one uses AJ Mitchell and Robert Williams. So that's that. But again, it is just a waiting game today. I really have nothing else I really want to say about this. If I built SaberSim stuff, I would probably just just again X out those games, or maybe what I would do is run it and then see how much I would be getting from that stuff. That's probably pretty wise, and then decide whether I want to do exit out or not. But I think exiting it out, given the Kawhi news, is probably bright. Okay, maybe I'll go on later tonight and live sweat the end. We shall see. Good luck, everybody.